So,
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to More Than a Conversation, episode 5. I'm once again joined as usual by my good friend, Forever the Arrowverse,
hey,
and we have a jam packed live stream for you today.
that double feature, baby.
The double feature, it is none other than Barbenheimer weekend, and we had two movies drop today, and
hmm
me and Arrow decided to go check both of them out. So, Arrow, which movie are we diving into first today?
We watched Barbie last, so that's fresh on the mind. So let's go ahead and tackle
All
that.
right, so we're going to be checking out the Barbie movie first. So, Arrow, what was your initial thoughts of the Barbie movie?
It was alright.
Just I.
Yeah.
It, it, it,
Um,
Go
Ryan
ahead.
Gosling probably stole the show. Honestly,
Definitely, definitely.
uh, we relate to Ken
Yes, we are
on
Knuff.
a on a
We are
on a
Knuff.
personal level. Are we though?
Well, I know that I am Knuff. You may not be Knuff, but that's for you to find out.
Probably. Yeah.
But you'll just have to go to the movie and understand for yourself if you're Knuff or not.
Yeah, we're
Um,
definitely copying one of those hoodies, right?
oh, definitely,
Oh,
definitely.
100%. 100%.
Except it wasn't really a hoodie. It looked like it was like one of those like big poofy jacket type deals, almost like that robe
I
he
mean,
was
I'm pretty
wearing.
sure. I'm pretty sure people are gonna make it into a hoodie, though.
Oh, definitely. If someone else doesn't, I definitely will.
You
But
know how to make things?
what?
You got your own professional hoodie maker,
No, you just go to Custom Ink Mate.
bruh. You need it in the same font and everything, though.
What's that?
You gotta have it in the Barbie font, though.
Barbie font. You can just copy.
Yeah.
You can copy a logo off
Oh,
off the internet and just
you're not gonna
upload
get
it.
copyrighted for it?
I mean, as long as it's in like the public domain, you should. I mean, all these slides come off just like Google search, so we haven't been copyright struck yet. So,
That's true. That is true. I'm actually kind of surprised. Maybe YouTube's easing up on copyright.
well, I think the whole copyright situation it usually derives from individuals because I actually heard that there was an individual who was calling out people on copyright for things that weren't even copyrighted, like stuff in the public domain. This guy would
hmm
just like go into like people's YouTube videos and be like make a false copyright claim against them. And unless you go to
Interesting.
YouTube about it, you were just targeted with copyright.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was actually a big thing that went down not too long ago. I think Moist Critical goes into it on one of his videos that he uploads like every day.
hmm
Um, but anyway, so Ryan Gosling for me, yep,
Right.
definitely he stole the show.
100%.
100% stole the show.
Yeah.
Relatable
Yeah.
character, lovable character. He got a little
Too
bit
relatable.
he got a little bit annoying there at the end, but
I don't know, man. I think he just digged horses.
he really digged
I
horses
just,
and patriarchy.
hmm
Horses and patriarchy, everything a man needs. It also felt like it kind of went full circle because he dressed up like a cowboy in the beginning of the movie, and then like by the end of the movie, he's like, "Yeah, horses are the way to go, man." Like they took the Barbie Mount Rushmore and turned it into all horse heads. Like that's a lot happened in 48 hours in Barbie Land.
That is true.
Like they changed
He, bro,
government,
bro,
changed the
bro
Mount
got,
Rushmore.
bro got, bro got the Barbie land and what played around, dude.
No, for real. Like in 48 hours, dude went in there and changed the mindsets of everyone living in Barbie Land, restructured an entire mountain, changed the name, and rewrote the Constitution in 48 hours. While Barbie's over here stuck at Mattel. Uh, but welcome to everyone tuning into the pod live. Thank you for tuning in. I see Inside the DC Universe has decided to join us once again. Thank you for coming back, man. So, taking our minds off Ken for a second and stealing the show, how did you feel Margaret Robbie did as Barbie?
I mean, she's phenomenal. I mean, I don't. I mean, it's Margot Robbie. So
I mean, yeah,
my problem with the movie wasn't with Margot or Ryan Gosling.
yeah,
My problem primarily was the story that it told.
yeah. And we'll get to that in just a second. But what do you feel about the intro sequence and us learning that in Barbie Land, it isn't just this world that's just
Hmm.
separate from the real world, but it's a
Hmm.
land where literally every Barbie doll knows that there's such malfunctions with each other. They know that they're all based off dolls or whatever, essentially.
Okay, that first 10 to 15 minutes where all those old dolls, that those like little girls were like beating the old dolls
Oh
when
yeah,
when
that
Barbie showed up.
yeah.
It was so weird.
It was so messed up. You
We
got
were
like
just staring at each
you
other in the
you
theater, like, bro, what is happening?
you got a bunch of little girls chilling out in the middle of the desert playing mommy with their baby dolls, and then suddenly a Barbie doll shows up, and they just start smashing the baby dolls into the ground and stuff because Barbie is here and she's the new it thing.
She's like
Like
70 feet tall.
like we saw a baby doll's head straight up shatter and explode when a little girl slammed it on the ground. Like, bro, what? And this is how you introduce the movie?
Yeah, like that's such a weird introduction.
And then to go just from that to like, I mean, they did good on like introducing like all the different Barbies and like saying, oh, this is why Barbies can be anything because they can do all these different jobs and it's not just
You said you,
stereotype Barbie.
you said, "Oh, they did a good job with introducing all the other Barbies." It was literally, "Hi Barbie, hi Barbie,
No,
hi
not like
Barbie,
that.
hi
Think about
Barbie."
it. After the baby doll scene where all the baby dolls got like blown up,
Yeah. No, the
and
pregnant Barbie that was discontinued was hilarious.
yes, but I'm even talking about before pregnant Barbie. I'm talking about when the screen
Oh yeah,
went
yeah.
white and it was displaying all the different Barbies with the different jobs, then
I
started
got you.
displaying them as
Hmm.
dolls. It was kind of like
Yeah.
introducing you to like the characters you'd see in the world and stuff. And then it
Yeah.
transitions from that to, Barbie starting her perfect day.
Hmm.
Um,
Barbie comics
yeah.
coming soon.
Barbie comics. And then, oh my gosh, poor Ken. He just wanted to ride the waves.
Bro,
Bro,
bro, it's like
bro,
I can't even beat here.
bro, I can't even beach here. I can't even like jump in the water and impress Barbie. I just.
Ken's over exaggeration to like literally everything in the entire film
Yeah, he really did.
was hilarious.
Inside the DC universe thinks that based off our description that the director was on hardcore meth when coming up with this movie.
I disagree.
Yeah, they would
She's-
definitely. We'll get into it later,
she's
but they
just
definitely
woke.
had a very specific direction that they were taking with this film.
She's just very woke.
She just woke as Barbie can be. But basically, also the scene when they had to go visit Weird Barbie. It was funny how they explained that because even when I came home and I was describing the film to my mom and what I thought of the Barbie movie, she was just like, "Oh yeah, every little girl's gone through that phase at one point where they just wanted to be a makeup artist or hairdresser, and they just cut their Barbie's hair off and put makeup all over its face." And so I thought that was really funny talking about that with my mom, but explaining Weird Barbie and why she's always doing the splits and she's got cut hair and colorful paint all over her face.
Yeah, I had no problem with that character.
Yeah, she was actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then Barbie's presented with the choice. You gave her some
That's
bootleg
where-
sandal, and it was just
That's
like,
where the movie went to crap.
here's this bootleg sandal. You can know the secrets of the universe by going to the real world if you take this bootleg sandal. Or you can have this high heel and go back to the way things were. And Barbie's like, "Oh, I'll take the high heel, please. I'll take the high heel." No, we're going to do this again. You can have the sandal or you can have the high heel.
I mean, do you blame her?
I mean, no, she's living in a perfect society, and also just saying she picked
She's
out the
literally the queen.
she literally she's stereotypical Barbie. That's the word they use to describe her, right?
Yeah.
Is stereotypical Barbie, and not President Barbie, not physician Barbie or nurse Barbie. It's just stereotypical Barbie.
I kind of find it funny because
It is quite funny. Like I wonder if they even like put that on like if she has like a birth certificate or like a driver's license, if it says on her ID stereotypical Barbie.
bro, you know the part in the movie to where when Ken went back and he started doing a bunch of stuff, changing everything, and
Yeah.
then like his house was like being mass produced and like selling all across the United States.
Yes.
I thought it was funny how like
Yeah.
everything that happens in Barbie world is like instantly produced in real life.
Yeah.
And so like
DC Universe, it doesn't have to be, but if you want it to be a Toy Story reference, you can make it a Toy Story reference. I got you, fam. Um, but
there was definitely a Zack Snyder's Justice League cut reference.
there definitely was. But
Yeah, it was
so
just like they really wanted to piss men off at that point.
yeah,
Like screw all of the anti-men woke views. As soon as you mention Zack Snyder's Justice League cut, we're throwing hands.
for real. No, what was the exact line that Barbie said there at the end of the movie? What was that line?
Oh, about the Snyder cut?
Yeah.
Because she was like in this like daydream, like in a brainwashed situation.
Yeah.
And when she came out, she was just like, "Oh my god, I thought I was just like really interested in Zack Snyder's Justice cut for like the entire time." And I was like,
Yeah, insinuating that she was never into that, but because she's in this like
Sure.
hypnotic trance state,
"Yes,
she was into it for that
yes."
reason.
Which I kind of think it's funny because bots, DC bots, kind of got that movie greenlit, but we're not gonna talk about that.
All right, so going back to where we left off, so Barbie, she goes to take on the real world, and she finds out that the real world isn't some happy place where girls can be whatever they want to be, thanks to Barbie dolls. And actually, we find out that and I even confirmed this with my mother because I actually talked about this a lot with her to just fact check things. She actually spit some facts and said that it was just like they said in the movie. Girls actually kind of resented Barbie dolls because they couldn't do everything. They couldn't have the perfect figure. They couldn't look all beautiful and done up, and they couldn't like be whatever they wanted to be. And so some little girls actually resented Barbie dolls growing up because they felt they could never live up to that standard.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of girls are gonna grow up resenting this movie because of that simple fact. Like, Margot Robbie is like the dream girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, every dude on this planet wants Margot Robbie.
Dang.
So,
But
I get it.
Barbie. Oh, fat. Okay. Yeah, I just saw that. DC Universe says that Barbies are an outrageous beauty standard, to be honest, but fat Barbies are just hilarious. I think it's a good concept, of like trying to bring equality, like when they started making the black and the Hispanic Barbies. I think it was a good like concept to try and increase inclusion and equality in like Barbie doll eyes. But it's still gonna like take getting used to because when you go in and you see the overweight Barbie on the shelf, it's gonna take getting used to. But it is something that I think society needs. That's one of the things that I like about the Barbie doll is how inclusive it's trying to be. But beyond that, Ryan Gosling, aka Ken, learned a very interesting lesson while they were in the real world. While Barbie was getting her heart broken, forever. What did Ken learn?
Bro realized he was the bomb. Slight reference to Oppenheimer, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But anyway, so Ken basically, as he goes on his exploring or whatever in the real world, he puts together the mindset that men rule the world with horses. That for some reason, men and horses, they just control government and policies and money, and you're looked on with respect. And so, bro actually ran into a school library and stole like 6 books to teach himself that men are
And then went,
superior.
saw Barbie get kidnapped and was like, all right, time to go back.
Okay, Barbie, she's gone forever. I'm probably never going to see her again. But I'm going to go bring this propaganda back to Barbie Land.
Listen, that's just the only portion of the movie that it takes you out.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so hard to get behind.
Yeah. And then, so basically, in case y'all are wanting to know, over the course of the entire Barbie movie, it pushes feminist movement. It pushes that men are these like superior overlords type deal that dictate how everything goes, and women are
men are I don't know if you would count this as a cuss word, but basically they're just saying men are jackasses all the time, and
that women
are
I want to say
expected to do too much.
Right. That women are expected to do too much, they're overworked.
But also not enough.
Yeah. That's the message that we got, is that women have to do too much but not enough.
No.
And men are these like overlords type deal.
No. Basically, this is my viewpoint on anti-men and feministic viewpoints on this type of movie specifically.
Right.
Is I don't agree with it. You could push your agenda everywhere else. I don't care.
Right.
You know, if you want to post 20 posts on social media a day explaining how you hate men and that women are better, go for it. I'm not arguing because women are great.
Yeah.
However, I saw multiple, and I mean multiple, fathers take their daughters to this movie, this 8-year-old daughters to this movie today.
Yeah.
And they walk out feeling that like their dads are absolute dicks.
Yeah. Like even the dad that
You know
was
what I'm
of the little
saying?
girl in
Like,
the
it's
film,
just not right.
he just wasn't there the entire film. An entire film
Yeah,
is an
it's-
adventure about the daughter
yeah.
and the mom, and the dad
Exactly.
just absent at home learning Spanish.
Right. It's just not right.
Yeah.
You know? Like, how do you think the dads felt leaving the movie?
Right.
Probably felt like crap.
Right, because initially when I looked at this film, I thought it was going to be like a fun family kids movie type deal, and it was just a movie that was just
You thought it was basically gonna be like Toy Story, but for girls.
yeah, kinda. And so, but instead, when I showed up to the theater, instead of getting like this little like, you know, maybe Barbie's just having an existential crisis, and that's the point of the movie's out, is Barbie rediscovering herself.
Right.
But
Again, that's just my thing, man. Like,
yeah, but instead
don't push that type of agenda on this movie. Like, this
film,
was,
every single corner of the film was cramming these down
yeah,
your throats.
it was like every minute and a half, it was like this jab.
Right.
And it wasn't even a slight jab. Like, it was like a straight on right hook to your face. Like, it was there.
Yeah, and so like I did, like you can promote it anywhere, but to take like a movie and paint it up like a kid's movie, and then to just cram that down every little 8-9-year-old girl in that room.
Which really sucked because a lot of the humor in the movie was really good. It made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, I was genuinely laughing.
Yeah.
The set looked amazing. Barbie World, the Barbie World set looked amazing.
Yeah, they did a really good job setting up the dream houses and all that.
It just it the potential for the movie to be great was there, but it just
Yeah,
the agenda. I feel like movies alone, especially kids movies, you shouldn't have to promote woke agendas there.
yeah,
Especially when it was supposed to be for a dad and daughter type
yeah.
situation.
Movies for kids are supposed to be all inclusive, and you know,
I'm all for the movie empowering young girls to do whatever they want to do and feeling like they have the ability to do it. But you don't have to demean their father to do it.
right. Um, and so that's just the main thing that weighed the film down for me is because I'm sitting here, I'm laughing, I'm enjoying it all.
I mean, like Ryan Gosling takes his shirt off and you see six pack abs.
Mm-hmm.
He's singing a song, dude.
Yeah, which was
An
honestly
enjoyable
dope,
song.
but very
Why
like,
why is this so catchy?
it really was incredibly
Like,
catchy.
I don't. I'm about to have to go add that to my Spotify
I know because
playlist.
anywhere else I'll be a 10, but I'm just Ken, you
Right?
know. So
Right, bro. When he said, "Where I see love, she just sees a friend."
bro, that bar hit so hard.
Oh my god, bro.
Where I see love, she sees a friend, and I was
Everyone was like walking out the theater questioning their mortality. I'm just walking out the theater like, yeah, I'm just gonna be alone. Like,
you know,
it
I'm
just reassures
Ken.
me of this.
Yeah. But yeah, then it kind of got down to the end of the movie, and basically, once Barbie and the mother and daughter returned to Barbie Land, we learned that Kens have taken over Barbie Land, rewrote the Constitution, and it is now going to be called Ken Land.
And quote unquote brainwashed all of the Barbies.
Yeah, quote unquote, they legitimately brainwashed all the Barbies to where the Barbies felt like they didn't have to have the jobs anymore, that they could just be these mindless objects that is just meant to open beer bottles for all the Kens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
and so basically it went from this like little happy place where the Barbies and Kens interacted
It got
to
dark
now,
and depressing
as
so
soon as they
quick.
got back, there's like everything has become like masculine in style. Like there's workout equipment everywhere, Jeeps
Hmm.
everywhere, motorcycles.
Well, I think there's only one Jeep.
Well, there was the only one Jeep, but you know, it was in like 80% of the footage, so it, you know.
Yeah,
Um so
bro,
yeah,
literally.
so
It would have
now
been extra funny. It would have been extra funny if instead of bringing like a Jeep or whatever the truck was, I don't remember, if he would have brought a Mustang over because it's
a horse.
it's a horse.
Yeah.
They missed that, but it's okay.
Yeah. And then they literally they spend the whole end of the movie unbrainwashing all the Barbies and making the Kens all fight each other, only for the Kens to unite. And yeah, it was awkward, but the fight scene was kind of funny because you know you got Ken running around singing "I'm Just Ken" while beating up the other
Right.
Kens.
Getting shot with plastic arrows.
Yeah, ripping it out and
One guy,
stabbing
one guy
someone else.
one guy got literally T-boned in the head with a frisbee. Did you see that?
Yeah, but then again, I'm gonna say it. For me, for this movie, every scene involving a Ken built it up, and I know that's gonna sound
Right.
like sexist or something because, like, ooh, all the male scenes made it better for me.
Well,
But for
I
me,
loved every scene with Margot Robbie too. But
Yeah.
Margot Robbie played the men suck card the entire movie. She was just trying to make somebody feel better.
right,
So
literally, Barbie is
obviously, and she's
The entire movie, Barbie's having an existential crisis about thinking about dying one day, and she's
Right.
trying to like make this mom and daughter happy, and while living with her mistakes on you know making the Kens go crazy or something. I don't know. I didn't even pay attention to Barbie at that point. I was just hoping for Ken to show back up and just still be singing "I'm Still Ken" because that song just kept coming back and back at the end of the movie.
I think the ending of the movie was fitting. that
Yeah,
whole
it was.
conversation with like the creator of Barbie
Mm-hmm.
and that whole moment. But right after that, where
Oh,
she was like in
Barbie.
the real
Yeah,
world,
Barbie. You don't have to be in Barbie Land anymore. You can be in the real world for the rest of your life if
bro,
you want.
she went into the real world for the rest of her life. They literally could have showed any 2 minute clip of her being in the real world, of doing literally anything, eating a burger. I don't know, freaking seeing a movie. That would have been ironic.
Yeah.
But no, they made her go to a gynecologist.
Yeah. And so for me, like this film, it just pushed too many things down people's throats.
Yeah,
And instead of taking like the happy family movie movements and like the happy family things,
yeah, in a
this
kid
is
movie, there was multiple sex jokes
yeah,
in and an MF drop
yeah,
in this movie. Inside, for your reference, Inside was like saying in a kid movie.
yeah. So this movie, it really, after I got through the beginning of the movie, it didn't feel like a kid movie.
The
It
only portion of the movie that I liked was like that middle ground of like after the introduction and right before she went into the real world for the first time. That
yeah,
was like the only portion of the movie that I actually enjoyed.
yeah. But the rest of it was just nonsense. And
Obviously, like Ken overreacting to literally everything
like,
was
oh my gosh,
absolutely
I'm
ridiculous.
injured, but I'll still fight this other Ken for you, Barbie.
Right, right, yeah.
And then Barbie
Or when he
breaks up the
went,
fight only for the nurses to come up and put Ken on a
yeah,
stretcher to give him an
yeah.
X-ray.
When he went into the real world for the first time, and she was like trying to like focus and find the girl, and she's like, "Why don't you go take a walk?" And he's like, "By myself."
And he's like walking away, just staring at her the whole time, like waiting for her to say something.
Yeah, Ken is like so funny.
Hmm. Yeah, for me, Ken definitely was
Hmm.
what made this movie remotely
Right,
enjoyable. The other half of it,
and
I don't even
again,
know if Aaron
and
noticed
again,
it, but for like half the movie, I just kept looking back at him, just cringing.
yeah, and again, it's more frustrating of a movie to watch, but it's still enjoying.
Yeah,
It's still enjoyable. Like we walked out laughing and wanting to buy Barbie merch.
yeah.
Like
I mean,
it did its thing. It did what it was supposed to do, but it's not. I
yeah,
don't think it's gonna hold up for very long,
yeah.
if at all.
Better or
Looks
worse
like we
than the
got a
Flash? Better or worse than the Flash?
worse.
Worse, by far, worse.
I think I rated the Flash a 7 out of 10. I think that was my final rating,
Yeah,
and Barbie was a 5 out of 10.
yeah. For me, Barbie was a 4 out of 10.
Solely like heavily skewed to Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie.
Yeah. And at the end of the
If they
movie,
didn't cast them, either of them, the movie would have been a terrible movie.
yeah. And actually, we've got about a minute and 30 seconds left of our Barbie
Hmm.
segment.
Hmm.
So, forever, what's your final rating that you would give the Barbie movie?
Well, before I give my rating, I want to point out my favorite moment in the entire movie. My favorite moment was when Barbie was like having her existential crisis and she was like crying and she was looking around and she's like, I don't feel pretty. Right. And then
Yeah.
that commentator like just like came over and was like, this is a note to the casting directors. Margot Robbie is not the correct option to cast if you're trying to make this point. Like that was so hilarious.
Oh yeah. But anyway,
But final rating is a 5 out of 10. Like I was at a 4 out of 10, but I gave it a 5 out of 10 because I genuinely enjoyed Ryan Gosling.
yeah. I'll
Like
I'll give it
that was like the best portion of the movie.
I will give it a 3 out of 10. And look, listen, the reason why so low is simply
It's
because
because you don't like Margot Robbie either. You're just not attracted to beautiful women. That's all it is.
I'm not attracted to any women right now. I'm just going through life right now, man. But the thing is,
Bro, Ryan Gosling, hard eyes.
bruh, um, but basically, the reason so low is because, yes, I will say, Ken made the movie
hmm
enjoyable,
hmm
but to give it a score of like 50% solely based on one guy in the film,
Yeah, but he was in the film for 50% of the time.
I know he was actually in it
So
almost
I mean,
100% of the time. He had almost as much screen time as Margot did.
yeah. So I mean,
But
feels
look, you
accurate.
said you
I am a
said
little bit more generous because I do really love Margot Robbie.
yeah. So look at this. Look at this. Your initial guess was 4 out of 10, and my, I wanted to be nice and give it a 4 out of 10, but I just couldn't give the film that much credit. So based off your 5 out of 10 and my 3 out of 10, we give Barbie a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, respectable. I mean,
Respectable.
I don't see how critics are giving this anything ab- above that, let alone a
I
certified fresh
went
90,
look
like 90 something percent. Like that's just
when
ridiculous.
I was taking
This is
some.
not a critically acclaimed movie.
Yeah, I think I went to go look up some stuff for the Barbie movie when I was getting these photos together.
hmm
Um, and as I was getting the photos together, I realized that IMBD
hmm
gave it a 7.6 out of 10.
Yeah,
And
and
I
that's
was
actually a lot lower than like everybody else has.
right.
Like again, Rotten Tomatoes was like a 92%,
Yeah,
which is
exactly
like a
inside.
9.2. That's just absurd.
Yeah.
IGN.com was like a, I forget what IGN.com was, but that's just absurd. Like
Yeah.
they were literally like not like even with Oppenheimer, and we watched both films today, and I can guarantee you our brains were more blown away by Oppenheimer than it was Barbie.
Yeah. Barbie, I can go with the rest of my life with not seeing it again.
Obviously, if I have a little girl, I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, and if my
you know,
family goes to watch it or watch it at the house,
yeah,
um,
I mean, it's not something I'm gonna go out my way to watch, but in certain some circumstances, it may get a rewatch. It may.
yeah. But anyway, it is time to transition to
Movie of the year.
movie of the year.
And this is even coming from a Spider-Man fan who saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse this year.
Yeah,
And this is yeah, Oppenheimer beats Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
yeah, and this film, it had drama, it had suspense, it had me sitting like on the edge of my seat, like trying to like piece together what exactly is going on because there was sketchy scenes. Like they never answered all the
hmm
questions to
Right?
a
They would leave you. They would leave you with like a certain question, like especially like the interrogation scenes,
yeah,
like when he was in that closed door hearing.
yeah,
They would like ask a question, and then they won't go back to that question for like 35 minutes in the film.
yeah.
Like it was crazy. Like they were, yeah, like you were on your seat the entire time, bro.
Just waiting to see if you can get some results, and they did really
Yeah,
good at the end of the film, wrapping everything up.
bro. Everyone's like viewing this. It's like, oh, this is just another history movie. It's just the guy who built the atomic bomb. Like whatever. We don't need 3 hours on the guy who built the atomic bomb. No, you don't need 3 hours. You need four.
Right.
Like if I sat in this theater for 4 hours, I would have been a happy man.
Like it didn't even feel like 3 hours because it was that much enjoyable and that much of a good film
Mhm.
that
Right.
I sat there for 3 hours and it only felt like an hour and a half basically. Like it felt like
Oh,
I was
it
just watching
probably
a
didn't
regular
even
movie.
feel like an hour and a half. I felt longer sitting through Barbie than I did Oppenheimer.
For real. For real. Um,
It
but
was just, it was beautifully shot.
yes, the sounds, the sights. I also love that for Oppenheimer, every time we see him like thinking and people are like trying to bug him, it almost puts him in like this static state where his head's focused and the screen starts shaking around him. And sometimes you
Yeah,
can like start hearing like the Geiger counter going off in the background,
right.
like as if he's about to explode.
hmm
Um, and it was just really cool how they did those scenes.
Now, you
Um,
know it's like extra crazy?
what,
How stacked this cast was?
for real?
And like every like 20 minutes into the film, like this new A-list actor would like come in,
For real? Like it wasn't one of those
give
films where they
give an
just
Oscar-winning performance, and then be done for the rest of the film.
right, because it was one of those type situations where what was it? They didn't just introduce all the characters as going to be the main characters in the
Right.
film right off
hmm
rip. They
Right.
introduced them as the film trickled on, and some characters we didn't even get to
Yeah.
see them
They
till
didn't.
after
Right.
the 2 hour mark for the first time.
Right. Right. Yeah, because a lot of people are like, they don't realize that this is like a story spanning his entire life. So it's like 40 years from the moment like he was like that young age overseas
Yeah,
to
bouncing
literally
from
him getting the medal.
right.
Like it was like 40 years.
Yeah, they covered his college life, bouncing from all the prestigious colleges all over the world, just trying to learn quantum physics because dude stayed up all night, unable to
hmm
sleep most nights because he has the theories for quantum physics rolling around in his head, but he can't put all the pieces together just yet. He knows there's more to this world, but he can't
Yeah.
connect it, and that's
You know
why
what
he
I
has
love?
this thirst for
You know what
knowledge.
bro, do you know what I love?
Right?
The opening scene was like Cillian Murphy or whatever he pronounced his name,
Mm-hmm.
looking at, because it was raining outside and it was a puddle, so he was looking at raindrops hitting the water and kind of like trickling, right?
Right?
That symbolized what was eventually going to be the atomic bomb, like a bomb going off, like hit, explode, right?
Right.
It ended with the movie with him at the lakeside with Albert Einstein saying he just created something that's going to destroy the world, or
Right.
set off like a different path of this world that is going to eventually
Right.
destroy us.
The
And it
main
was like
phrase
it was
used
like
is this may the phrase that used was that this is the end of World War II, but like the beginning of the nuclear war.
right.
Everyone now has
Insane.
the nuclear
But
bomb card in their
right.
arsenal that they can play whenever they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Like I just love like those small shots, like of just even like the quick shots of like protons or whatever going through space, even stars in space or whatever, that he would like envision in his mind at a certain point of time in the film as he was talking about it. Like that was brilliant. Like it was like so many moments and so many time that had to be covered in the film, and they cut each portion of the film perfectly,
yeah.
and they would go back to that portion of the film exactly when they needed to.
Yeah.
So basically the film was like that closed door hearing. They would talk about something, and then they would go to that point in time and give you like 30 minutes on those events.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Cillian Murphy did the performance of a lifetime.
Oh yeah, for real.
I mean, my goodness.
And you brought this out after the film itself, but the guy played Oppenheimer not just in the World War II time scale, but played college Oppenheimer, early life Oppenheimer,
Yes.
played World
Yes.
War II time Oppenheimer, and then played 9
Old
years
Oppenheimer.
after World War Oppenheimer type deal.
Did you say 90 years?
Nine, nine.
Oh,
I
nine.
think it was
Oh,
about
I was
nine that
like,
they said.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. And you could tell so easily what timeline he was in quickly by just looking at him and the makeup that he was in. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like they literally told you, they literally could show him 5 years down the road with like little gray hair and then cut to the next portion of the movie 20 years before that, young as frick, and then like 40 years after that, and he's like full on gray at this point.
Right.
It was crazy.
Also, going over the course of the film, it was interesting getting a look into the life of Oppenheimer. Because growing up in history, I've always heard rumors, or not rumors, but always heard bits and pieces about this guy. But to kind of get an
Right.
in-depth
I
story
mean,
of his
really,
life.
really the main thing was that he was just the father of the atomic bomb. Like
Right,
that was just like the main thing that we were taught.
right. And so,
So,
like, going in this and, like, learning about, like, his communist brother and
mhm,
even interesting, like, learning about his affairs. I mean, it's not
mhm.
really the
Bro
holy
got a
thing, but
bro got around, dude.
he got around, just
He
saying.
got around.
Um,
He got around.
and then to even see, like, his support for, like, the communism in the beginning, then he didn't care for it anymore once he started, like, finding out things.
Right. I don't know if it was like necessarily like he didn't like as soon as he started finding out things that he was closed off to it, but he always just had that open mind of like new views of everything. Like it wasn't like he wasn't for anything. Like
Right,
he wasn't even Republican or he wasn't even Democratic. He was just
right.
kind of just whatever your opinion is, I'm open to hearing it, which
Yeah.
is still kind of dangerous in a sense,
Right.
especially with what they were getting to with like the whole national security thing. Like he was a liability,
Yeah.
but he wasn't disloyal to anyone, especially
And that's
the
what that's
government,
what they
like you.
proved. That's what they proved at the end of the movies. They just grounded it into our head. He is loyal to his country. He is loyal to his country. He is loyal to his country. I heard that phrase so much in that last like hour of the film that they were interrogating him.
Yeah. So early on in the film, you met the guy, met a I don't know if he was a professor, but he said, you can't pick up the stone until you're ready for the snake that reveals itself underneath it.
Yeah.
One of the hardest lines, bro.
That line.
This movie had so many
And then,
like,
and then, like, and the
insane
line about
lines of
where
dialogue.
the
Bro.
general started like coming at him or whatever about his situation. He looked back at the general and like, but it's not your people; it's in the camps.
Yeah,
And
he
was
was like,
like,
it's mine.
Oh my gosh!
Ooh, dude. Yikes.
Like Oppenheimer dropping mad bars over here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But we've kind of neglected him a little bit. But Inside the DC Universe has mentioned
Oh, yeah.
this film. Char Japan mentioned that you already spoke to him about your favorite scene. Shared two images that perfectly describe our two reactions. You can't see them due to the way things are set up. Like due to the way that my Windows laptop picks up emojis, you can't see the actual emojis, but they hammer it on the head pretty well. Okay, the two emojis are there's
right.
one emoji drooling
Listen.
and there's another emoji covering his eyes.
The reason Inside is saying this is because I joked with him about the sex scenes, and he thinks it's my favorite part of the movie. That's what he's trying to get at, and it's completely false. I mean, they are nice.
Joked.
Don't get me wrong.
Joked. Inside, I'm there with you. Joked. Joked.
Yeah. So, But while we're on the topic, why don't we go ahead
Get that out
and
the
dabble in
window.
that for a minute?
Yeah.
So the
Um.
first time that it happened, it was kind of early in the film. Completely fine. I mean, your typical, she's just topless. That's it, right? The scene lasted like, I don't know, a minute and a half tops. Probably not even that. And they didn't even show her fully for the minute and a half. So what got me was later in the film, all right? I talked to you about this. They were literally in a hotel room, sitting in two separate chairs, all the way across the room from each other, having a full on conversation. Like they were just chatting it up. You know, he was like, "This is the last time. I can't see you again. I can't tell you why." It was because he was at the lost, whatever it's called, right?
Yeah.
It's classified information. He couldn't tell, but they were butt naked,
Yeah.
sitting in chairs all the way across the room from each other.
Like I didn't watch the scene, but it would have made full sense. Like, if you're gonna have a
Like
scene
if
like
you would have
that,
just done
have
it
both
in
of them
bed,
yeah,
if you would have done it in bed, that would have made full sense. But they were sitting in chairs, just junk hanging out, chilling, talking about I can't come see you again.
right, and
That didn't
then
make no sense to me.
right, and then she went off and iced herself, and
Ooh, I don't think we should talk about that. That could be a sensitive subject. We could get flagged from
yeah.
YouTube.
We talk about nudity and it's fine, but I say girl iced herself, and that's what's gonna get censored.
Bro said Nolan's a genius. That was my line, bro. I told you that earlier. You still in my lines, bro?
No. But let's just say the girl, she wasn't well mentally without having Oppenheimer in her life.
Which
to
is
help
also
coach
kind
her
of weird
back.
because earlier in the film, when they got a divorce, he was like, you know very well as much as I do that I'm not what you want.
Right.
But then all of a sudden she couldn't live without him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Oppenheimer Part 2 is just gonna be her story. Like what happened to her like in between those moments.
And exploring the life of a communist in early America.
Was she a communist?
She worked with the communist groups. I don't know if she was like
Oh.
communist, but she worked for the groups that was like 100% for communist, where like
Yeah.
80% 80% of the group was communist.
That could have been her depression then.
Yeah.
I don't think it was him leaving, per se. Because if you remember when she was there, she said that she needed him emotionally
Yeah.
because she was in a rough spot. And then he denied her. He didn't think it was going to lead to that, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like she couldn't live without him or she was just at her last straw and like he was the only person that could save her type thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But anyway.
But when he ended up when he met Emily Blunt's character for the first time and they were at like that party or whatever.
Oh yeah,
And she like walked up to him and they're like kind of talking and she's like, "You're a physicist, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." She was like, "Okay, tell me about the quantum physics." And like he literally talked about something and then made it to where he was picking her up. I was like, bro's got quantum physics
bro
riz?
got that quantum physics
What?
riz.
I was like,
Like bro was just describing atoms and and atoms colliding with each other and stuff, and then like this girl just like
grabbed her hand and he was like, "And it keeps me from going through you." And I was like, "Give me a page out of your book, sir."
like please, like
I'm desperate here.
dude's a physicist and he got more game than like 85% of men on Earth, like for real though.
Inside said quantum physics.
Yeah, quantum physics makes sense. But if I
then
ever
later
walk
in
up
the
to
film,
someone and say I've done quantum physics, I will be mocked and I will
listen,
never be able to pick up a single female.
we can't do that anyway. Um,
Uh, Go become a
later in the
physicist,
film,
Arrow.
later in the film, we learned that he was in fact having an affair with this other woman this entire time, like after marrying Emily Blunt's character. And they were like walked up to him and he was like, they're trying to say that you were having this affair and that her husband ended up dying out of heartbreak. And he was like, nah, that's absurd, like that's crazy. And he goes, what part of that is crazy? And Cillian was like, the fact that he died of a heartbreak, he never found out.
like, like, dude was hitting us with some like
Yeah.
banger quotes. Uh, but then I another thing that I noticed over looking at the course of this film, I always
Mhm,
thought the Manhattan Project was a super secure
mhm,
project. No communist could get inside.
mhm.
No one could get inside this
Right.
project. But we watched the movie, and it's just like any and everybody that wants to be there, if they go through Oppenheimer, they can get on this military base.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Um, I know we're rounding 9 o'clock, so that probably means we got about 10 minutes left.
yeah, we got, if we want to cut it off at an hour and 5 minutes like usual, then we've
Um,
got about we got about 13
okay.
minutes left.
Okay. All right. So there's two characters specifically outside of Cillian Murphy that I want to talk about.
All right.
The first one is Matt Damon's character as the general,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever position he held for
Yeah.
majority of the film. I don't know. Um, Insanely great, like perfect. Like when I tell you, like these like A-list
Well,
actors were giving like literal Oscar-winning performances. We're not kidding.
yeah.
Like it was funny when they were talking about it, and it was like a minute and a half to like the detonation of the atomic bomb test run, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, like we could blow up the Earth and end all humanity." And Matt Damon was like, "Wait a minute, what's the percentage of that happening?" And he was like, "Near zero." And Matt Damon was like, "Are you kidding me? How
And
about
like,
zero?"
what do you want? What do you want? And then Oppenheimer's over here. What do you want with theory alone?
Yeah,
it's
and
just
he was like, "How about zero?"
it was a whole comical scene, and to add to the nuclear scene,
Mhm.
I literally, that one guy ran out of the safe bunker and stood beside it closer to the atomic bomb than
I
anyone
thought he
on
was.
that military base.
I thought he was dead for.
I thought he was gonna die from like the
I thought he was dead for.
radiation or
While
light
we're
or heat or
yeah,
something.
while we're on this, um, the explosion atomic bomb scene. God, was it brilliant when the bomb went off, and you could just see the different shots of the bomb,
Yeah,
and then seeing the different facial expressions from everyone else in the camp. Like, obviously, we saw Matt Damon, Cillian Murphy, Josh Peck, who pressed the button. Which, who knew Josh Peck was that good at pressing buttons?
I mean, imagine that.
Imagine that. It was so beautiful because we know that scene was not CGI, and that Christopher Nolan refused to use any CGI in the film. So that was just beautiful that they captured that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And then when the bomb went off, it was just pure the explosion for like 45 seconds, and then the sound waves hit where they were. Like Cillian Murphy, you could tell like the sound waves were hitting, which is great because, you know, obviously sound doesn't instantly happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for that was just so brilliant to me, which I know is like typical in an explosion. Like you got to know that in order to do an explosion.
Yeah.
But I still thought it was very cool,
Yeah. I
and I
like.
love that they actually didn't show Japan getting nuked. They just
Yeah.
talked about it.
Yeah.
Like I was so afraid of them just cutting and then doing this whole World War II scene of like Japan getting nuked and like all of that, but they didn't. I was so happy they didn't.
Yeah. Because I addressed this with you earlier forever, but I feel like when it comes to World War II was a serious event that took place in our
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
Yet film industries continue to pump out World War II themed content. I don't have anything
Hmm.
against World War II themed content. I love it. I
And that could
love
just
World
be
War II.
war, like war in general. Like that's not necessarily World War II. Obviously, it's newer and it's fresher, so they're going to be pointing ideas off of that quicker and easier.
Yeah.
But it's not just like that kind of stuff in general. But yeah.
But I just feel like it is going to get over milked eventually. I'm not saying that we are to that point yet, but I am
Hmm.
saying that it's going to start getting to that point where people they hear World War II movie and
Uh-huh.
it's not going to
Uh-huh.
draw in the audience numbers or the
I
response they
think
want because people have been fed all this
right,
information over and over and over.
right. I think it depends highly on who directs it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Christopher Nolan is a renowned director, brilliant. Obviously, we knew going in Oppenheimer that it was going to be a magnificent film. It
Yeah.
was just by the sheer definition of what Christopher Nolan is. So obviously, who directs those movies are going to be important. Like if James Cameron directs a World War II movie, I think it's going to bring in numbers just
Yeah.
because of his name alone.
Yeah.
So it just depends.
Like, and you
And
notice for
a lot
most
of
of
the war
promotionals,
movies.
for most of promotionals
Mhm.
for Oppenheimer, you saw slapped on it, directed by Christopher Nolan, directed by Christopher Nolan, directed by Christopher
Mhm.
Nolan. You saw it slapped everywhere.
Mhm. Right. That's part of the marketing. He is part of the marketing. So and again, a lot of the World War II movies or just war movies in general, they don't have like a great budget. So you don't see great visuals per se. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but the second character that I wanted to talk about was Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Yeah.
This man is gonna win Best Supporting Actor.
Oh yeah, for real.
100%. I mean,
Like,
the plot twist at the end. Obviously, I didn't know this history of like Oppenheimer's life in full detail. Obviously,
right.
what everyone remembers is basically just the fact that he was the father of the atomic bomb.
Right.
So we got all of this extra story that a lot of us in history didn't learn, and just the like that twist at the end, like that was crazy. Like I don't want to go into like full detail because obviously we have it's a spoiler, and I know it's like a spoiler podcast, but that was insane because the
Yeah.
whole movie we were literally fed this one narrative of this guy,
Right. Correct.
and at the end it was like literally the complete opposite.
For real.
Especially that conversation with Albert Einstein. I
Yeah.
love that we revisited that at the end, and we got to hear what that conversation was, whether or not that was actually accurate in
Yeah.
what happened in real life.
Yeah.
But
His inside
The
commented and said,
the fact that this entire thing happened with like his country turning on him
mm-hmm.
was based on the fact that Robert Downey Jr.'s character thought he said something to Albert Einstein in that moment, and he was just pitied up for the rest of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's like on a whole nother level of pity.
Yeah. But Inside commented and said, "Is it really a spoiler if it's history?"
Um,
Just saying about this scene, I believe that some of this scene, though it may have true historical accounts, I believe that a lot of that sequence of the film
I
may
don't
have
think
been
this whole
fiction.
film is 100% accurate.
Yeah, I think
You
that
know
was
what
a
I'm
big
saying?
fictional
I do
scene.
think, I do think a lot of it is because if I believe correctly, Christopher Nolan did actually read like Oppenheimer's like journals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So like he did read like a big portion of his life, and the fact that it is U.S. government documented. So he probably was able to get some type of records to
right,
make an accurate movie out of this.
right.
But I don't know if you can
Inside,
count that
Inside just said that
as
Robert Patterson gave the
Pattinson.
journals to Nolan.
Yeah. How did Robert Pattinson have his journals? That's crazy.
I don't know. I'm just a man who likes
Mhm.
watching movies.
So, I can't tell you if it's a spoiler or not,
Yeah,
but to the again to the average kid who just learned that he was just one thing and one thing only, which was the father of the atomic bomb. Just
yeah,
because it is history doesn't mean that it's still not a spoiler. Because
right.
I guarantee you, 98% of people who watch this film had no idea that 98% of this film even happened in real life,
Mm-hmm.
but it did. So, like,
Right.
I was even like, I didn't even know they built a whole freaking town.
Yeah, I knew that
Like,
much.
I didn't even know that,
Yeah.
you
Uh,
know?
we
But
we
the
just
school we
hit.
did go to did kind of slack in like detail areas.
Lol. Did you just see what Inside sent?
Epic rap battles of history taught me about his affair, LMAO.
Dang, but we just
Dang,
hit an
bro.
hour and 2 minutes. We just hit an hour and two
Only two
minutes.
minutes.
And so, wh-
Inside, hurry up and comment something if you want any questions to be answered.
all
We
right,
got 3 minutes.
all right. And so I say we go ahead and give us what we give this film.
Mm-hmm.
What we give this film
12
out
out
of
of 10.
10.
12 out of 10.
12 out of 10.
That's obviously a joke that you know of.
12 out of 10.
I give it
Oh,
a.
I think I remember the conversation now.
You remember that? You remember the joke.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's a perfect movie. It's a 10 out of 10. I don't think you could get any better than what it actually was.
Right.
And people who complain about it being too long are just, they're weak.
Yeah.
Just suck it up and stay an extra hour in the theater. Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah. And to me, like I said, so you're over here 10 out of 10. For me,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna bash it because I didn't
Because you
immerse
don't
myself.
like the nudity scenes.
Yeah, because of moral conflict. But I
Uh,
think if I based my judgment on a film off of
based on what? How about this? Base the film on what you saw, and the fact that you closed your eyes during that sequence means you didn't see that portion of the movie, so you can't judge it.
right, so I joked with Arrow saying that I was going to give it a 9, then said I was going to give it a 9.5. But I will give this film a 10 out of 10, making it more than a conversation's first 10 out of 10, 100% movie review.
Yeah, it'll probably be the last one too.
Yeah, will probably be the last one because there isn't a whole lot of good cinema now these days.
We're getting there.
We're
We
getting-
just, COVID took a deep jab, and
Yeah.
wow.
Um, so we've got about 50 seconds left, and so we're done. Inside decided to plug his Instagram account if anyone would like to tune into his Instagram and hit him up with a follow. I have a YouTube channel at Generally Minecraft. Most of y'all will see this here. I have a Twitch, Generally 6944. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and follow on Twitch. You will not be let down. I mean, you probably will be let down because I'm not the best. But I've got several big projects that I'm working on, and I hope that all of y'all can tune in and be a part of that. And also, Inside shouting out Forever the Arrowverse when he didn't
Oh yeah,
want to be
I
shouted
mean,
out like last time.
it's all right.
It's all right. You know, it is what it is. But anyway,
All
thank
the
you.
attention needs to go to your YouTube page, not my thing.
not your
You know,
Insta page.
I'm your co-host, bro. I'm just here for the ride.
Hey, but you can't be more than a conversation featuring Forever the Arrowverse and General Lee if we don't have you. So
I mean, you
anyway,
could talk to yourself.
I mean, I could, but you know that wouldn't be as interesting. But
Then it would be
anyway,
then it would be actually more than a conversation.
for
Because people
real.
would think you're crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for everyone who tuned in live. Follow and subscribe on all the platforms that we mentioned to you. And I also have a Discord server linked in my YouTube About Me page. And so check that out. Come to the server and stay updated on when we go live next. So thank you for everyone who watched, and we will catch you all on the next conversation.